National Media Commission on Media Monitoring for Election 2016 coverage.
Exhibition of voters register to run from Monday, July 18 to Sunday, August 7, 2016 throughout the country.
Theresa May has introduced a new cabinet. The new team is a major departure from predecessor David Cameron's top team, as top ministers have all been sacked by Mrs. May.
Hello, good evening. You're welcome to GBC24 and GTV studios right here in Accra. It's time for news. My name is Yupo Papitre.
I am Shirley and Clement Sam is our signer for tonight. Now straight to our first story. The National Media Commission has presented the first in a series of media monitoring reports on the coverage of election 2016, according to the chairman of the commission, Mr. Kwesi Janapinting. The exercise is to ensure that the media plays by the rules, especially in the run-up to the elections. A report by Winifred Efum.
Media Commission, the monitoring focused on both the state-owned and the private media. The highlights of the monitoring exercise was on the priorities media houses attach to certain issues. According to the report, the electoral process and issues about the election management body was the priority of almost all the media houses and received the most coverage at the expense of issues on education, corruption, and the like. The electronic media houses monitored include GTV, TV3, Metro TV, and UTV. Radio stations monitored include Joy FM, Unique FM, Radio Gold, and Oman FM. The print media that were monitored are the Daily Graphic, Daily Guide, and the Ghanaian Times. The chairman of the NMC, Mr. Kwesi Jan Apintin, said another report from the monitoring will be out in August.
Monitoring is indeed a requirement of democratic media regulation. In a democracy, you regulate by law. And the basis of the law must be reality, what it actually takes for people to live, to enjoy their lives. And in order to do that, you need information. Otherwise, our work will be abstract. This is why the monitoring capability is so essential to the effective discharge of our mandate.
The report also identified that, with the exception of the state-owned media, the smaller political parties received less coverage by most of the private media institutions. The Executive Secretary of the National Media Commission, Mr. George Sapon, said that trend has to change.
They may not grow if we do not show interest in what they do. And their growth, we are not interested in their growth. We really don't care much about their mortality. The only reason why they are important to you and I is that they are the ones who force the bigger parties to avoid complacency. It is important that even if it is at the level of ideas, what these smaller parties represent also gets space.
The European delegation in Ghana provided some equipment for the monitoring exercise. For GBC24, Winifred Efum report.
The Electoral Commission will begin exhibition of the voters register from Monday, July 18 to Sunday, August 7, 2016 at all polling stations throughout the country. All exhibition centers will open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day, including Saturdays and Sundays. Persons who registered in 2012 and during the limited registration exercise of 2014 and 2016 can inspect the voters register to ascertain that the particulars on their voters' identification cards are the same as the particulars contained in the provisional register of voters and to request for the necessary corrections in the register if there are any discrepancies. Only people who appear in person can request for correction of wrong data or inclusion of their names where they have been omitted. Officials of the Electoral Commission, as well as others who are eligible to be registered as voters, may also object to persons whose names appear in the provisional register on the grounds that such persons are not qualified to be registered voters. All prospective voters shall be verified biometrically for them to know their polling stations on election day. The Electoral Commission is advising the public to endeavor to go with their voter ID cards to facilitate easy checking of their names and the verification of their biometric data.
Media practitioners are to participate in special voting in this year's elections. The arrangement is a reversal of the Electoral Commission's decision in 2012 to exclude journalists from special voting. Unlike in previous years, the National Media Commission and not the GJA will be in charge of accrediting media houses for eligibility. This is to give journalists enough time to report on the election day.
The next NPP government will establish a special loan scheme to assist artisans expand their businesses. Additionally, the NPP, if elected, will provide startup tools free of charge to graduate apprentice artisans to enable them to begin their own enterprises. The flag bearer of the new patriotic party, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, made the said promises while addressing artisans at the Swami Light Industrial Area in Kumasi.
The flag bearer of the new patriotic party, Nana Akufo-Addo, is on a 5-day campaign tour of the Ashanti region. He went in the company of some party executives, including some of the party's members of parliament and former ministers. The second day of the tour took him to areas including Bantama High Street, the Swami Magazine and Tafo. He was given a rousing welcome. At certain points, Nanado's convoy had a difficult time moving through the crowd. At the Swami Magazine, a former Minister of Trade and Industry, Mr. Alan Tremantin, told the artisans that the next MPP government would establish a special loan scheme to assist master tradesmen to expand their businesses to create more jobs for the people. He said the Swami Magazine would be upgraded into an industrial city. Addressing a rally at the offices of the Ghana Garages Association, also in the light industrial area, the MPP flag bearer Nana Akufo-Addo promised to modernize the National Vocational Training Institute (NVTI) to function better. He also pledged to secure a land to expand the Swami Magazine into an industrial hub in Ghana. His itinerary was also to take him to the Asanteman Traditional Council at the Menchia Palace and also address a meeting of former ministers and deputy ministers, MPs and MMDCEs in the erstwhile Kufuor administration.
2 workers of the West African Mills, a cocoa processing factory at Takoradi in the Western region, died at dawn on Thursday in a motor accident on their way to Parliament. More than 20 others sustained injuries. The workers were on their way to Parliament to listen to the Finance Minister address the House about the fate of the embattled company. The company has stopped its operations due to various challenges, and the fate of the workers hangs in the balance. The Finance Minister, however, did not turn up in Parliament due to ill health.
Mr. Speaker, early this morning, I was called that there's been an accident. In fact, it was a military vehicle that had crossed their car when they were traveling to Accra. When the issue was advertised last week, it was all over the news. So apparently, virtually all the stakeholders in this cocoa business actually contacted me that they were very interested in the question that was being asked, because for them, over the last 28 months, it's been very difficult for them, and therefore they felt that coming to Accra to listen to the question was also very important, so that at least they could also have the opportunity to meet the minister responsible for cocoa affairs, which was the minister for finance. It's unfortunate and very sad that this morning we've had this news. In fact, one of them is even my own classmate at the biochemistry department at UST, and he was their lead research officer, and then an elderly person. Currently, as we speak, some of them are at Efiokwanta Hospital because it happened just close to Elimina, and some of them are also at Interbetten in Cape Coast.
I sympathize greatly with my colleague, Member of Parliament from the area, and the bereaved families. Mr. Speaker, it is unfortunate that a member of Parliament who has put a question and has duly informed his constituents to listen or come and listen to what was going to happen, this thing has happened to them. It is not a good day for us, particularly we are the majority side, because that is our business. The business committee has programmed the question, and unfortunately, it didn't happen as we expected.
The business committee must ensure that the question is reprogrammed for the minister to be in the House on Monday or Tuesday to respond to the question. On behalf of the House, and indeed on my own behalf, I would like to extend my condolences to the bereaved family and those who are injured. I can only wish them a speedy recovery at this time.
Meanwhile, reports say 15 out of 23 people involved in an accident on Cape Coast Takrady Highway in the Central Region are in critical condition. The accident occurred in the early hours of Thursday on the Cape Coast Road when a military ambulance collided with a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter bus. One more victim of the bus crash involving workers of the cocoa processing company has died in a hospital in the Central Region. It brings the death toll in the bus crash to 3 after 2 employees of the company died. 5 others, including a military man driving the ambulance, have been treated and discharged. Eyewitnesses say the Sprinter bus with passengers from Takrady heading towards Accra collided with an ambulance at Komenda Sehi and skidded into a nearby bush.
The Whole Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has destroyed large quantities of dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp. Fake drugs that have been confiscated by the authority were also destroyed. The Assistant Commander in charge of the sector, Frank Kujo Ashon, cautioned pharmaceutical firms to use the appropriate channels to import products.
The items included parcels of dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp, assorted pharmaceuticals, sex enhancement drugs, boxes of firecrackers, as well as expired food items. The items were seized by customs officials at various checkpoints within Ho. According to officials of the whole sector of customs of the Ghana Revenue Authority, the items were seized between May 2013 and May this year. GBC24 learned that most of the items came through unapproved routes. Most of the items were seized at the Asikuma checkpoint. According to the officers, they posed a serious threat to public health and safety since they were not evaluated for quality, safety and efficacy by the Food and Drugs Authority as required in the Public Health Act 851 of 2012. The Assistant Commander in charge of the whole customs sector of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Mr. Frank Kujo-Ashon, cautioned pharmaceutical companies to use the appropriate channels to import their products into the country.
The conveyance, that is the vehicle conveying the goods. When we intercept the driver of the vehicle, and the vehicle itself will be confiscated, and the importer or the owner of the items will also face the law. So it is incumbent on drivers to inspect the luggages before the load, because as you all know, ignorance of law is no excuse.
The exercise to destroy the items was supervised by officials of the Food and Drugs Authority and the National Fire Service.
The launch of World Day Against Trafficking in Persons took place in Accra with a call for more to be done in the fight against human trafficking in Ghana. The day, which is also known as the Blue Day or Blue Hat Day, will be held this year amid reports that Ghana has been ranked on the Tier 2 watch list of the United States Department of State Annual Trafficking in Persons report for 2 years in a row. This ranking means that Ghana has failed to comply with the minimum standard to eliminate trafficking.
In 2005, Ghana enacted the Human Trafficking Act 694 to suppress human trafficking, punish perpetrators of the offense of human trafficking, and develop strategies to rescue, rehabilitate, and reintegrate victims of the offense. Although the situation has improved since then, due to poverty and ignorance, children are still being sold to work on farms and fishing communities, while adults also travel to seek greener pastures abroad and end up working in inhumane conditions. Also, Ghana serves as a source, transit point, and destination for human trafficking. The launch of the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons is to call for more awareness creation and education on the laws on human trafficking and its effects on the society. There were solidarity messages from representatives of UNICEF, International Organization for Migration, and the International Labour Organization. The Director of Operations CID of the Ghana Police Service, Chief Superintendent Felix Mausi, said the role of the police in dealing with human trafficking is to prevent and detect, and has now set up an anti-human trafficking unit due to the seriousness the police attaches to human trafficking.
The CID is doing intelligence-led enforcement. The anti-human trafficking unit is taking part keenly in interagency cooperation, knowing fully well that the crime is seriously organized, and so enforcement must be more than seriously organized if we are to make progress.
Ghana Journalists Association President Mr. Alpha Omoni pledged to support by propagating the news in ending human trafficking. The U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Mr. Robert Jackson, said for Ghana to rank in Tier 2 of the watchlist country 2 years in a row means the country did not take any meaningful steps to address the problem of human trafficking.
But government inaction could have even more far-reaching consequences. Under U.S. law, any country designated as a Tier 2 watch list country 2 years in a row must automatically be downgraded to Tier 3 the following year. What does that mean? It means that unless the government shows sufficient progress to warrant a Tier 2 or Tier 1 ranking, we have to look at restricting our bilateral assistance program. I'm not here to attack the government. I'm here to ask all of you to help us work together.
Launching the day, the Acting Executive Secretary of the Human Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Madam Victoria Nachu said Ghana's ranking on Tier 2 of the watch list means more must be done to prevent, protect and prosecute to combat human trafficking.
If parents could sell their children for 40, 50 cedis, then we are saying as a country, we must deal with the issue of poverty and extreme poverty. Ghana has ensured that the Visa 20 has been abolished to prevent young women from being exploited in the Gulf states. And let me state here that Ghana is a free country and adults have the right to travel. The issue, however, is the fact that when you want to travel, please use the right channels.
The day will be celebrated on the 30th of July.
Residents of the Abonko electoral area in Tema New Town are sending an SOS to the authorities to help fix their sewage system, which is in a bad shape. They also appealed for the drains in a community to be properly constructed. When it rains heavily, the area gets flooded, leading to heavy loss of property.
For many years, residents of Abonko in Temanu town have battled with mosquitoes due to poor sanitation. The choked sewage system overflows and empties its contents into the neighborhood. Sometimes, when it rains heavily, the people are unable to stay in their homes and have to be rescued by canoes. GBC24 recently visited the waterlogged area.
The gutter is often choked and only clears when it rains, so the stagnant water breeds mosquitoes that disturbs our sleep at night.
This place becomes flooded, making life very difficult. Sometimes you have to move to our relatives a bit far from this place so that we can be with them. When the floods go down, then we come back. And then as you can see this place, the refuse is too much. Sometimes like a month, the sanitation car doesn't come for it, making life very difficult for us over here.
People put their structure on the gutters and we complain a lot. Nobody hears of us. This is the only situation we are having here. We are calling them to come and help us, but nobody is minding we.
This route is a daily commute for over 2,000 people. All the gutters in this community flow into the Chemu Lagoon. This was the previous route until 2 months ago when this wooden bridge, referred to as the London Bridge, was constructed.
When it rains, the drains overflow. We try to clean around once in a while, but the problem still persists.
The assemblyman for the area, Christian Amoa, said dredging the Chemu Lagoon will ease the plight of the people.
It is not only the issue with the drainage system that is causing the issue, but it also has to do with dredging of the Chemu Lagoon, and the dredging has been initiated. That is to mean that they have started, except that they have paused, and we are only hoping and looking forward that they will continue. And when the dredging is properly done, or it is done to the where it has to be completed alongside the drainage systems, I think that the situation would be okay.
For the residents, their prayer and plea is for the authorities to take a second look at the sewage system and gutters to keep the Abonko community safe.
When we come back, we have business.
Good evening and welcome to the business news. My name is Esther Edu Ohumeu. The government says it is taking steps to pay the 2.2 billion Ghana cedis debt the Volta River Authority owes the suppliers and the local banks. Under the arrangement, the VRA legacy debts will be paid from a special account of the energy sector levy. The government of Ghana, acting through the Ministries of Finance and Power, says it is making progress with the restructuring of a substantial portion of the debts owed by the Volta River Authority. The VRA's debt burden has increased over the past several years due to a combination of operational and financial difficulties. The government, in its quest to ensure fiscal sustainability and reduce the extent to which it is required to grant financial support to state-owned entities, has embarked on an exercise to strengthen its balance sheets. A statement issued by the Ministry of Finance says the final restructuring package includes 3.5% rebate of the gross indebtedness of the VRA to lending banks as of May 31, 2016, and an extension of the maturity of the cedi and US dollar denominated components to a maximum of 5 years, with an option to accelerate repayments within 3 years. Additionally, the restructuring allows the government and VRA to achieve a maturity transformation, that is repayment period from overdue status to up to 5 years. The agreement is also expected to give the VRA a reduction in the interest rate for the cedi component of its debts to 22% per annum from an existing average of 32% per annum, to be reviewed after 6 months, and that of its dollar-denominated interest rates from 11% per annum to 8.5% per annum. The volume of shares traded by the Ghana Stock Exchange in the 2015 financial year stood at 246 million shares. This value was 247 million Ghana cedis. The turnover is, however, lower than the 346 million Ghana cedis recorded in 2014. The chairman of the Council of Members for the Ghana Stock Exchange, Dr. Sam Mensah, attributed the 2015 drop in performance to the volatilities in the economy and the knock-on effect of the power crisis.
In the 2015 financial year, the GSE Composite Index, which measures the performance of the entire market, recorded a negative return of 11.77%. This is compared to the positive 5.4% returns recorded in 2014. According to the directors of the stock market, the volatilities and the declining growth experienced in 2015 also had a telling effect on the stock market. The market capitalization of all listed securities dropped from 64.4 billion in 2014 to 57.1 billion Ghana cedis, representing an 11% drop. The domestic market capitalization also fell by 19% from 13.9 billion in 2014 to 11.2 billion Ghana cedis in 2015. The exchange, however, recorded a surplus of 2.55 million Ghana cedis in 2015 compared to the 4.18 million cedis recorded in 2014. The chairman of the Council of Members for the Ghana Stock Exchange, Dr. Sam Mensah, said he expects the stock market to respond positively to the recovery of the economy.
The energy crisis has taken a serious toll on the manufacturing sector of the economy, and nearly all the manufacturing companies on the Ghana Stock Exchange reported losses or heavily decreased profitability in the last year or so. So I think as we turn around the corner in resolving the energy crisis, macroeconomic stability comes up, we should see the market turning around.
Dr. Sam Mensah outlined a number of measures government must take to boost the growth of the stock market.
When we have investors overseas who are looking to enter emerging markets, they are looking for the best destination for their investment money. And if you're not competitive, they will just bypass you and go to other markets. So some of the challenges that the market is facing now in terms of competitiveness are arising from our new tax laws, which have basically put Ghana at a disadvantage in terms of being a competitive market compared to Nigeria, for example. In most African markets, capital gains are tax-free. And so government has to continue to support the exchange to make it competitive.
The Ghana Stock Exchange is currently ranked one of the best performing stock markets in Africa, beating competition from stock markets in South Africa and Nigeria, among others.
Reduced gas supply to the Atuabo gas processing plant has affected LPG supply in Accra. A GBC24 news team visited parts of Accra, and its findings indicate that customers have to travel long distances in search of LPG. Meantime, some gas retail outlets have resorted to the arbitrary increase in price.
11th of July 2015, gas supply from the Ghana National Gas Company, Ghana Gas, to the Abuaze Power Enclave near Sekondi Takoradi in the Western region fell considerably. The reduction in gas supply was occasioned by challenges confronting the Floating Production Storage and Offloading FPSO vessel, the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah. It was these challenges which compelled the Jubilee partners to reduce gas supply to Ghana Gas from 87 million standard cubic feet a day to 47 million. The reduction has resulted in shortage of LPG gas.
Currently, gas is very difficult to come by. We have been in queue for a very long time. We also end up spending all our monies in purchasing gas due to the indiscriminate increase.
The problem is, we are not usually informed about the increase. So, I was not prepared for the new price. I used to fill my cylinder for 8 cedis 50 pesos, but now I pay 40 cedis.
The price of gas keeps changing all the time, and it's very frustrating. So we plead with the NPA to do something about the issue.
GBC24 spoke to some gas filling stations on the shortages and how soon they expect the situation to normalize.
I think the authorities should give a prior notice to the public before any increment. The government should also adopt a plan to regulate the increment.
It was previously 50 kilogram was 195 Ghana cedis, but now it's 200 cedis, and 14.5 kilos was 52 Ghana cedis, but now it's 55 cedis 40 pesos.
Other stations, even where there is a price increase and gas are available, it does not pose a problem to customers than when there is an increment and gas is also in short supply.
Both the customers and operators are appealing to the authorities to take a critical look at the shortage and find a lasting solution before it gets out of hand.
Let's have the cedi's performance against its major trading partners. In insurance news for today, small businesses in Nigeria will soon be able to use insurance premiums as loan collateral. The Bank of Industry says it is working with 10 insurance companies to achieve this. And that's it for business. Have a good evening.
Thanks for staying on. It's time for the health segment. Following an appeal by the Central Regional Police Commander ACP Kwame Techipoku, the wife of the Vice President Mrs. Matilda Emisata has presented some medical equipment to the Cape Coast Police Clinic and educational materials to the Cape Coast Police Basic School in the Central Region. Theodora Amedeto reports.
The presentation of both the educational and hospital materials came just a week after a passionate appeal was made to the wife of the Vice President by the Central Regional Police Commander ACP Kwame Techipoku, who is a friend to Mrs. Emisa Arthur.
On behalf of the school, we also say thank you to our Honorable Second Lady for giving us all these items.
The regional commander and the heads of the Cape Coast Police Clinic and the Police Basic School were all grateful for the kind gesture.
Her Excellency, the Second Lady's support for the country's education and health is beyond measure. If people with position of trust and influence are to do a fraction of what Her Excellency has done, Ghana will be a wonderful country.
Mrs. Emisa Arthur commended the police service for their hard work and dedication, not only in ensuring the security of the country, but also for seeking the welfare and education of the personnel and their children, as well as those of the public under their jurisdiction. She encouraged the peoples to take their studies seriously.
I want to encourage you that in spite of the challenges that you have, study hard. Because there are others who are even worse than you are. I'm sure there are some schools in Cape Coast that do not have a quarter of what you have. The trick is to study with the little that you have and get good results so that people will know that in spite of your challenges, you are doing well. And that will encourage them to bring you things when you make the requests.
The Cape Coast Police Clinic was established about 30 years ago to provide free quality medical services to the personnel in the region and their dependents. It currently caters for some 2,000 police officers, their families, personnel from sister security agencies, as well as some members of the general public. The clinic is in dire need of a laboratory, an alternative power source, and some equipment for its medical store to be able to deliver quality health care to its client. The Cape Coast Police Basic School was established in 2001 to educate the children of the service personnel. About 400 pupils fill up classrooms from the kindergarten to JHS2. The school does not have a library, books, stationery, and other materials, making Mrs. Emisa Arthur's donation of medical and educational materials very relevant and timely. Theodora Medeto, GBC24, Cape Coast.
And that's it for the health segment. Coming up is international news.
Let's now do some international news. Prime Minister Theresa May has unveiled a completely new look cabinet in a major departure from predecessor David Cameron's top team, George Osborne, Michael Gove, John Whittingdale, Nicky Morgan and Oliver Letwin have all been sacked by Mrs. May. Liz Truss is Justice Secretary, Justine Greening takes education, and Tory leadership contender Andrea Leadsom has been promoted to Environment Secretary. Boris Johnson became Foreign Secretary. Philip Hammond was made Chancellor. Eurosceptic David Davis, meanwhile, would take charge of negotiating Britain's exit from the European Union in a newly created post of Brexit Secretary. We have sports coming up. Please stay with us.
Good evening, and for the sports segment of the news, the Ghana Police Service handball team and the Ghana Navy team have made it to the finals of the ongoing Greater Accra handball knockout competition. The police team thrashed its fire contenders while Navy beat Jamestown-based handball team Asumdwe. The two have set a mouth-watering clash which is set to come off this Saturday, July 16 at the Prisons Complex in Accra.
The Prisons Handball Court was the venue for the semi-final matches of this year's Greater Accra Handball Association Knockout Championship. The first match was between Ghana Police Handball Team in the orange and white jersey and the Ghana Fire Service. The police lads were impressive in the first half of the game as they won by 14 goals to 11. The resolute defense of Ghana Police prevented the attackers of Ghana Fire Service from having their day. They defended gallantly to end the encounter by 31 goals to 27. Here are some reactions from the coaches and players.
No team can match us. No team. If you go, it's just that maybe they may try to defend one way or the other, but none of them. We strategize before we come.
It was a nice game, but only one or two things on the side of the referees that brought us down.
Everything worked to our perfection, and anytime we meet them, we are going to beat them.
The next clash was between Jamestown-based handball team Asumdwe in the red and white jersey and the Ghana Navy. The first half saw the civilian team making incursions with some brilliance by Seth Boche, but the Navy men with experience, firepower and zeal regrouped and carried the day. The encounter saw the Navy side winning by 27 points to 25. Here are some reactions.
They had wanted to take us by surprise. That's the whole thing. But I hope the next match we are going to win.
By the end of the day, when we have lost, we'll go back and correct our mistakes and come back again.
They play physical, but we use experience. So through the experience, that's why we beat them. But the game, it was very exciting.
The final has been set for this Saturday, July 16, at the Prisons Handball Court. Ghana Police will face the Navy.
We now shift attention to the Central Region, where a week-long Special Aid Football Gala competition has started at the Upper Dentra East Municipality to unearth talent and promote peaceful coexistence. The competition will be climaxed come Sundays, July 17.
12 Zongo communities in the Upper Dentra East Municipality in the Central Region are battling for honors in a week-long gala competition. They include Yoshi, Wangara, Grushi, Kusasi, Asantinkremo, Busanga, Wala, Zabrawa, Kotokoli, Sisala and Gruma. The competition, aside marking the Eid celebrations, is also to drum home the message of peace before, during and after the 2016 general elections. The MCE for the Upper Dentra East Municipality, Emilia Ankoma, presented some items to the teams.
Election is not for war. Yeah. We all need peace. In the end, it is God who crowns success. Yeah. So whoever wins, we should all support.
A member of the organizing team, Adamu Kona, said the timing for the gala was crucial. Prizes at stake for the ultimate winner includes an uncertain sum of money, medals and a trophy. The Sala Gala competition will end on Sunday, July 17.
This has been your sports with me, Rebecca Iwa. Entertainment is next.
Alfred Patrick Adakwe is a classical musician or is very good at using the black and white keys on various musical instruments, including the piano. He says a good musician needs to put in more efforts to have a great impact on the audience.
Alfred Patrick Adakwe started his career as a classical musician in a choir.
When I was young, I thought a choir singing, or when someone plays the keyboard and someone sings, it's music. But when I entered the university and studied music, I realized that music is big, and that is where I started delving into other kinds of, art music.
Alfred sings and plays the organ with passion.
Am ye brave? Am ye brave?
He says he is inspired by lectures and international standard performers to organize programs to educate people. He told us about his upcoming event and musicians we should expect.
It's something I've been doing. Last year, for instance, I did a piano recital. Okay, and this time it's an organ recital. There will be a violinist, to entertain us and all that. There will also be a comedian to also entertain us.
Where are we having it?
Surgeons and Physicians Home.
He gave a peace message.
Ghana is a peaceful country, so I will say that as the elections are approaching, we must all know that it's already a peaceful country, and we have that signature, and everywhere in the world people know Ghanaians as peaceful. So let's keep on with our peaceful manner, even as we approach the election and even after the election, and God will bless us all.
And before Before we go, a look once again at the headlines. As election 2016 draws nearer, the National Media Commission has presented media monitoring reports on coverage. The first in the series of the exercise is to ensure that the media plays by the rules.
The Electoral Commission will open the voters' register for exhibition from Monday, July 18 to Sunday, August 7, 2016 throughout the country. The exercise will run from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day, including Saturdays and Sundays. This will allow registered persons to check whether their particulars are in order.
And it's a wrap for the news for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back at 10:30 with news tonight. Good evening.